Leaders who listen, learn, and let them succeed. What types of things do we need to see? What do we need to keep in mind? And how do we run our processes and our services to make the easy way the right way? If we make the easy way the right way, more people get help. And then in the end, less people need it.
Innovation in local government is often associated with technology, but the real barriers to change are usually much more human. From outdated processes to getting stuck in the weeds at work, many organizations just struggle to create the time, the culture, and the mindset needed for innovation to succeed. I'm Angelica Waddell, and this is Innovate by ICMA. And I'm here with Brian Elms, who is leading a course on innovation, the Innovation Bootcamp this June. And I'm really excited to talk to you more about that. Are you excited about the boot camp, Brian?
I'm always excited about the boot camp. It does feel a little like Groundhog's Day for me, but we do them a lot, not a lot. We do them out 3 or 4 times a year with you all, and it's always a blast.
And it's always incredibly helpful for the people who attend. They always come back with great reviews saying how much that it made a difference in their careers. Now, if you want to make innovation practical and realistic in your organization, please stick around because we will discuss the bottlenecks and what really matters for local governments. But first, let me tell you more about Brian. Brian Elms is the founder of Change Agents Training and a nationally recognized organizational innovation expert who helps local governments eliminate unnecessary work, improve processes, and build employee-driven cultures of innovation. As the creator of Denver Peak Academy, Brian helped lead initiatives that saved the city and county of Denver more than $30 million while training thousands of public sector professionals in continuous improvement and practical problem-solving strategies. Today, he works with governments across the country to help teams rethink outdated systems, improve service delivery, and create meaningful change without requiring massive technology investments. So we are pleased to partner with Brian to provide the ICMA Innovation Bootcamp, which starts on June 2nd, the next cohort of it. And today we will discuss a few key practices and ideas around innovation in the workplace. But the bootcamp series really is the best opportunity to learn, to get hands-on. You'll get everything that you need to know to transform your workplace. Okay, so if you're watching right now, please feel free to use those comments at any time. You are part of this conversation too, so I have a question. What do you think, in your opinion, is the greatest bottleneck slowing innovation in local government?
Sure. I love this conversation in terms of what is the biggest bottleneck. I've always said it the same way. We are. It's usually us and our mindset, how we attack our challenges, if we feel agency in order to make change or not, if we believe that we have the ability to make change. That's what I think is the biggest bottleneck and has been since I started. People struggle with that, especially in large bureaucracies, but even in small bureaucracies. We say things like, oh, that's outside of my pay grade, or that's not up for me to decide. And that type of stuff erodes your belief that you can make positive impact in your organization. Little things, small things, practical things make big impact.
And it can be a personal mindset as well. Sometimes it
Sure.
could be something like imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Who am I to try this different thing, you know? Why should I put my neck out there? I'm not good enough. That could be one. Or it could even be that you are the own barrier to yourself as far as risk taking and things like that. There could be a lot of things that are holding us back from being innovative.
I try to tell this to everyone. I have imposter syndrome almost every day. I've never not had it. I'm constantly fighting my own, you and I have talked about this, my own demon in what I can and cannot do. And who am I to write a book about this, right? Who am I to work with 30,000 public servants? And who am I to get invited to give a speech? And to me, that creates a couple things. There's some humility in that. And I think that also creates that really strong way for you to say, like, well, why not me? why not? Why can't I be that person? And I think that's the real push, especially in innovation, right? Why can't we make this form better? Why can't we improve our website? Why can't we make a checklist so that people know what to bring when they come to the DMV? What makes this so hard? But those are the types of things that if we don't feel like we have agency to change, we don't.
Absolutely. And I have the same struggles, y'all. I also have imposter syndrome quite often. But even though I know I'm capable, and then I have to give myself the pep talk, girl, you can do this.
Yeah. I mean, Angelique, a lot of people don't know this, but I have massive social anxiety. And
Really?
I present as an extrovert, and I am
You
not.
do.
I'm not.
I'm shocked, honestly.
Yeah, it does shock people, but I tell people all the time, like when you see me give a speech or when you see me on this, like I was nervous all morning. I'm nervous now, and I think that the challenge, as I've grown older and older, is innovation makes you do that. You should be nervous. You should be uncomfortable. If you're not uncomfortable doing innovation boot camp, I don't know why you're in there. Be uncomfortable, right? Nothing positive comes from comfort.
Mm. Well, now that we've talked about that mindset, that huge bottleneck, and I want to keep hearing your thoughts in the comments as well. Okay, let me say it like this. What does it mean to be innovative in local government?
I think it means that you're willing to try something new, that you're willing to make something better. And I've always defined innovation as something different, something you've done differently, whether it's updating a form or changing a website, totally up to you, but it's different. If we define innovation only as those breakthrough things, and this is in a book called Serial Entrepreneurs, but it's breakthrough, adjacent, and incremental are the styles of innovation. And breakthrough innovation is the one we all think about, like, oh, we're going to transform government. That doesn't happen very frequently. It's really hard to sort of pull off. The incremental and adjacent innovations, those are easier to pull off. And what I challenge people with all the time is, this is version 17. This is an incremental change. And not that much has changed since version 6. And we don't see that as innovation, but it absolutely is.
So taking those smaller steps first to come to a new outcome, that is actually innovation. It's not just a process.
Simple, small, practical. Those belief systems have an enormous effect on how people operate and how people work. So simple changes, small changes, practical changes make a big deal. If people are afraid to do simple, small, and practical, we'll never see breakthrough. Mm. And what I challenge people with all the time is, if you answer the phone for a living, be the best. Be the best at it. If you make websites, make the best website. If you fill potholes, be the best pothole filler on the planet. There's nothing stopping us. We, like governments, we should be the best pothole fillers in the world because we do it really well. So why not figure out how to do it better, mow the lawn better, fix the signs better? Whatever it is, we should be able to do it better.
Now, I can hear some of y'all at home saying, okay, that's great. You're talking about the individual piece of this, but what about the organization? Yeah. Well, listen, y'all, let me tell you something. Aren't organizations built up of individuals? Okay, so I want to ask you something, Brian, because you have a very interesting approach to innovation that focuses on employee-driven innovation instead of just waiting for massive technology investments or massive, we're going to do everything different in this whole organization with this a big sweep. We're all taking on Google now or something like that. But why is it that employee-driven or that individual-driven innovation, why is that the mindset that you're focusing on? Why is that so important?
I work on democratized innovation. What that means is everyone has the ability to make something better. That changes the belief system in the organization when everyone's a participant. There's also another selfish reason for this, which is if one person's doing it, it doesn't last. If multiple people are doing it, it starts to change the organization. So what you're describing is, oh my gosh, this bureaucracy is so suffocating, or I can't do anything because of my team. That type of thing I've heard my entire career. And what happens when we go into an organization and we start using the boot camp techniques and we start showing people how they can make simple, small changes, and then everyone takes part in it, it transforms the morale of the organization because everyone believes they have a part. When we don't have that feeling, it erodes our confidence in making change. So I've always believed in the democracy of innovation because it allows it to get better and better and better and better and better. When it's just one person, you're sort of selling it. It becomes a sales pitch. And any time that you have to buy into something, you actually want to cash out of. So I describe this all the time. If your executive is like, you guys got to do more, and you all look at them and say, how? I can only do so much in 8 hours. Our capacity is really hard to complete this. Well, if you don't train them on how to identify ways they can get better, and if you aren't, looking at this session or you haven't taken a training to try to figure out how to break down these problems in your office, it's on you to make this better. And capacity can be built within a system. And I've seen it happen over and over again. I've seen people make drastic changes. We just talked about this in Myrtle Beach recently. This young woman came through one of our trainings and she figured out how to provide services in the field to opiate addicts without going back to her office. Prior to this, she would have to go back to her office and come back to try to find them again. More often than not, she couldn't find them again. So now she's able to dispense all sorts of support and help to an opiate addicted individual in the community. She's saving lives, but actually saving lives. And she doesn't have a delay in it anymore because she broke down her process and she looked at it and said, what can I do that makes this better? Super cool to see. Becca, great job.
That's a great example. And one of the things that stuck out to me is you are speaking of innovation as a movement of people acting together, a culture, really. All right. So what separates those organizations that are successful at building a culture of innovation from those that stay stuck?
That is the meanest thing. Like I'm going to get in trouble. You're gonna get me in trouble. I have no ability to answer this without being like terrible. So, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get so much hate mail. I'm so excited for this though. Bring the hate mail. 100% of it is leadership, and the let them theory from Mel Robbins. Right, let them. You have to listen, learn, and let them. Leaders who listen, learn, and let them succeed. Leaders who have a better way of doing everything don't succeed in creating this environment. If you think you know how to fill a pothole better than someone else, that's going to stifle the entire organization. If I think I know how to fix a truck better than anyone else, that's going to stifle the organization. And if my brothers were to hear what I just said, they would be laughing hysterically because they know I can't fix anything. I am not a person who is mechanically inclined. So that's a hilarious statement. Listen, learn, and let your teams try and do things that may not work. Because you've tried them before. That may not work. And the moment that you allow them to go through that cycle of failure, the moment they come up with better ideas, failure creates better ideas. Angelica, we always say the first idea is the worst idea. It is. The first idea you come up with is always the worst idea. Being able to change direction, being able to take in information, being able to, I don't want to say the sort of pivot word, but being able to slightly adjust or allow Angelica to add to my innovation, allow others to build upon what I came up with or what we came up with is how it becomes better. If you are open, it becomes better. If you're a manager or a supervisor and you're hearing this, and we need to talk about how to hold your tongue or bite your tongue. The managers who succeed at this the most have learned how to bite their tongue so hard it bleeds and to let people do things. I'm going to get so much hate mail. I can't wait to receive these comments.
I've managed teams before, and I can say that is sometimes the hardest thing to do, because especially when you know what you do well works and what you can train other people to do, if there's always that thought in the back of the mind, oh, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But at the same time, can you make it better? And it's scary because if you do fail, sometimes people are afraid their job could be on the line. You know what I mean?
Governments struggle with failure all the time and they don't talk about it. And it drives me nuts because I can tell you the amount of times in the city and county of Denver that we failed. And I can list them out where I failed, where I did something wrong. And, I'm sure if there's anyone from the city and county who worked with me, they're probably counting them out loud. And some of them are loud. Some of my failures are loud. And it makes people really nervous to do, and they're really scared to do it. I would say remove risk. And anytime that we teach boot camp, we teach no money, no technology, no new people, and it has to be in your control. So those are the constraints that you have when you come into boot camp. I don't want a solution that has more money attached to it because we're in a constraint-driven environment, and especially right now with government, we're seeing budget cuts everywhere. So what are you going to do? Come up with a solution that costs more money? That doesn't make any sense. We're seeing layoffs start to take place. Well, if layoffs are taking place, what are you going to do? Come up with a solution to add another person? That doesn't make a lick of sense. Technology, one of the most difficult things for us as individuals to implement is large-scale technology projects. We fail at it tremendously. It is a huge struggle for us. So we keep those constraints in mind. No new money, no new people, no new technology. If you know how to use technology and we already have it, you're welcome to do that. If you know how to use an AI agent, we're welcome to let you use that. I'm not going to show you how to do that. That's a different class. But if you know how to do that and you can do that really well, you're welcome to do that. The challenge that I have is most people like to tell others how to innovate. So, hey, Angelica, my whole process would be a lot better if you did this better. Instead of looking at myself, where do I have power and control? And how do I make change in my organization? And if each one of us starts to do that, we pull each other along so that we're able to actually make an impact and you can feel it. You can feel it. If you can't feel it, most people don't know it happens.
Absolutely. I love that. A good leader listens.
Yeah.
And if we just remember that, that's going to help us be better managers, better local government leaders. But here's the other thing that I'm hearing from you, Brian, is it's not just about having individuals who are willing to take risks and willing to listen and willing to innovate, but having an environment that allows for innovation to thrive, an environment that says, okay, we can take a risk. Okay, we can fail and learn from those failures so that we can move forward with finding what those better ideas are going to be for our organization. Does that sound like what?
No, I mean, yes and no. This is a duality, right? I don't want someone to watch this and think, oh, I have a crappy boss and therefore I can never innovate. That is the last thing I want you to be hearing from this. Agency comes from you. Your boss might not be great. Your environment at work might not be great. But if you don't do something different, it doesn't get better. So you are a product and a participant in your environment. You have to choose, do I put my energy and effort in making this better for me, for my team, and for my customers? You should be doing that, no matter how great or how terrible your boss is. I mean, they have multiple movies about how terrible bosses are, right? There's multiple plays. Bosses can be terrible. Environments and offices can be toxic, but that doesn't mean you can't kick butt. That doesn't mean you can't be the coolest person in that office. That also doesn't mean that you can't move to another office that's even better. You are a part of that crew, and you have to decide, should we do this? And if you're deciding no, then you shouldn't be there. I think you should move to another space. I think that's hard for an individual to be in an environment that's so hard for them that it doesn't work positively. Angelica, we go into public service to help people.
Yes.
We go into public service to help people. We are in the business of livelihood. I can't tell you how frustrated I get when someone doesn't enjoy their job of the livelihood world. Whether you're filling a pothole, whether you're cutting down, you're doing forestry and you're trimming trees, or whether you're providing business licenses or inspections, it doesn't matter. You're there to help people.
Or getting yelled at in a council meeting.
We are the number one purpose-driven organization in the world that never talks about our purpose. And the employees that you have around you chose that work. You know how hard it is to get those jobs? In some places, it takes 6 to 9 months to get a job. It's ridiculously difficult to get these jobs. And then for some reason, we get mad that we're there. Look, you're making other people's lives better. Whether you're a cop, whether you're a sheriff, it doesn't matter. Whether you're a DA, we are in the business of making people's lives better. It should be fun. We get to do this. And it drives me nuts when I hear that the environment sucks or my boss is terrible. Well, yeah, that's like the human condition. Isn't that what they say? Right? Isn't it the enlisted man's job is to complain about his officer? I think that was like I think that's from the Civil War. I mean, that saying has been out there forever. Of course, we get into these terrible environments. It does happen, but we get to do cool stuff, man. I talked to someone the other day who works at a hospital that we were working with, and literally they provided a brand new therapeutic to a child who was diagnosed with a rare condition that was never supposed to walk. And that kid walked into the waiting room last week. We get to do this.
It's an honor.
It's
an
incredible.
honor to serve people.
And we're mostly called to it, Angelica. That's the other piece I hope people are hearing. I love that we're talking about innovation, and today I'm going on a diatribe about purpose. But I'm so sorry. So most people are called to this. They're called to serve other people. It's a calling in your belief system. I want to help the community. I want to help my neighborhood. I want to help my city. I want to be part of my state. That's a calling. And we don't always see it that way. So it drives me nuts. And I'm so sorry that I've gone on this tangent for way too long. It drives me nuts when I hear people say that their office that helps people eat for a living has bad morale. It drives me absolutely nuts. You are helping people. You're helping.
So maybe the next piece of that then is, and there are such things as toxic workplaces and all of 100%. That, but maybe the change can start with you. Even if you're not even in a leadership position, if you don't have the title, you're saying that's not as important as what you can contribute 100%. To that organization. And then if you are in a leadership position, then that gives you a really great opportunity, because you do have that position to be able to help, I guess, accelerate those changes that you want to see.
Yeah, we just heard from Melissa Bridges in Little Rock, Arkansas, in there. I miss you, Melissa. Thank you for being here. But yeah, I have to say, Angelica, like we get to do really cool stuff, whether it's the zoo or whether it's food assistance. We get to, change the way the city operates and the community. It is so much fun. And yeah, I've been yelled at by council, and I've been yelled at by a mayor. I've been yelled at by a governor. It's hard. We are
Yeah.
one of those people, like places where we have internal struggles and then we have external struggles as well. So our customers actually can be mad at us sometimes, and
Right.
sometimes our customers actively hate us. That's even harder. And we're in a very unique position. Well, in boot camp, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about what types of things do we need to see? What do we need to keep in mind? And how do we run our processes and our services to make the easy way the right way? And if we
Absolutely.
if we make the easy way the right way, more people get help. And then in the end, less people need it.
Yes. So it's going to start from you as the individual. It starts with you.
100%.
Whatever your position is, you are an agent of change. Now let's talk about the Innovation Boot Camp, because you just brought it up. It's the perfect segue, okay? We are very excited to spotlight ICMA's Innovation Boot Camp. It's an online cohort program. It's led by Brian. It's designed to help local government professionals rethink processes, identify unnecessary work, build practical innovation skills that improve organizational performance and service. Through live sessions, there's self-paced learning involved, there's hands-on activities, there's all sorts of elements to this, and participants will gain actionable tools that you can apply immediately in your organization. So it's something that you'll actually walk away with. This helped me. That's why people are saying this boot camp helped me make the change I wanted to see in my organization and be truly innovative. You can go to icma.org/events/ICMA-Innovation Bootcamp. Is there anything else you want to make sure that everyone remembers before we head out for the day, Brian?
I think what's really cool, Angelica, is we've trained over 30,000 people. And I think every time that we train another one, that avalanche just keeps on coming. And what we've wanted to do since we started Peak Academy is create a belief that we all can make change in our own organization and our own world.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Brian, for being here. And thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.